everyone, how are you doing? So last week I done a wee um, video chat and dissection of Paul Gilbert's solo from Daddy Brother Lover Little Boy, and I said I would maybe try and do something by Nuno Bettencourt for my next one. So I've been slaving away all week over the Play With Me solo from the Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure film. Anyone who's seen that film will remember the chasing scene that they had towards the end when they were running through the St Enoch Centre, causing mayhem. So, and that piece of music that was over the top of that was the Play With Me guitar solo, and it's always kind of stuck with me since I was younger and I saw that film before I even started playing guitar. So, in that intro solo that you just seen, I tuned down a half step to E flat because the backing track was in that. For the demo purposes here, when I'm just kind of talking through the solo and stuff, I've tuned back to standard tune because I know how much of a hassle playing an E flat is. So we'll just run through the solo pretty quickly. I'm not going to dissect it as much as we did with the Paul Gilbert thing. I will put a caveat in this and saying that this is pretty difficult to play. It's proved to be fairly hasslesome for me in certain places, timing wise, and it's been just really easy to kind of skip the beat and rush ahead, which I found really difficult to kind of play right on time. So if you listen to that intro solo again, you can hear there's bits and pieces where I'm rushing it or I'm just not catching the timing as cleanly as Nuno Bettencourt does. But after a million takes, that is the take I was sticking with. So anyway, the intro to the solo starts with an A, a harmonic minor scale. So using those notes from the 5, 7, 8, 10, and that 4th fret in there as well. So that's the notes that we'll be using. And I found this technique really difficult to play because you'll see people on tutorials online kind of tremolo picking, picking that. And I think that's the way I used to play it when I was younger. But if you check out the way Nuno Bettencourt actually plays it, he plays it in groups of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the first 2 notes are with the left hand. So that's a pull off. And then the last 2 notes of the group of 4, 3, 4, are with an upstroke and then a downstroke. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I found that mechanic really difficult. You can hear me struggling with that on the intro solo. And it's got a slightly different sound to when you're hearing the pick on every note. So you're only picking just up, down, up, down. Heavily muted as well with the right hand and with the karate chop part of the hand right over the strings there. We're going to go 5. So that's the order of notes. And then we're going to do that pull off and the 2 picks after every one of those notes. Then you tie it up at the end with that wee cliche. So that's pretty useful to get that technique under your belt. But sounds pretty cool. Then you move into the arpeggio section, which is played twice, but there's slight differences between the first time you play it round and the second time you play it round. So the main point of these arpeggios, whether you play this solo or whether you steal them for your own ideas, is that it uses a lot of left hand tapping. You might hear this being referred to as hammer-ons from nowhere, which is quite frankly ridiculous. Uh, uh, but the very first arpeggio is this kind of E7 from the A harmonic minor scale again. It's a kind of it's outlining the E7 flat 9 chord before it moves to, can't remember the arpeggio next after that. So the arpeggio goes, you play it in triplets, so it's in groups of 3. 9, 7, 9, and then 6 on the B string, G9, B6. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 9, 6 on the B string, and then 9 on the G string. And then 6, 9, 7, 6 on the B string, 9 on the G, 7 on the G. So put all them together. Now it's all done with pull-offs, and this ninth, so the G string's always kind of getting hit with the pinky hammer-on, and the pick is only picking on the B string. So I'm going to pick that first note, and I'm playing first and pinky, upstroke, and then the left hand tapping on the G string. So I'm not picking that one, and then I'm going to pick the B string again. And that's going to be an upstroke in the first B string and then a downstroke in the second. Up, down. So that's just in the B string I'm picking there. That pinky is hammering the G string. Pinky on the 9th fret. Hammer on the G string again. Don't pick that. And then pick on the B string. So I'm only picking 3 times out of all of those notes there. Well, 4 if you count the first pick on the very first note. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's really good for, if there's one thing this solo is good for, it's building up strength and stamina in your left hand. It takes a lot of effort to kind of get these notes kind of flowing, and it's all hammer-ons and pull-offs, so you need a lot of kind of strength in your fingers and to get all these kind of string skips. So that is the basic mechanic, that's the movement of notes. So that note, that movement, that finger direction is the way we're going to play all of these arpeggios now. I move to A major arpeggio now. So that's 6, 9. 6, 9 on the G string, and then 5, 9 on the high E string, so it's a bit of a stretchy one at the top. And you just got to do the same motion of movement with the pick, just picking on the high E string, and then you're doing these left hand. So that's worth practicing that. Hammer on the G string just with the pinky, and then pick the high E string, and then get some separation between those two notes. Cool. And it's all heavily muted again. So the note movement is the same as the first arpeggio. Now I'm playing that slowly there, so I'm doing my pick directions wrong. I was just doing all the upstrokes here, but it'll go up, down, up on the high E string. Up, down, up. Up, there, down, up. moves from the A major arpeggio now to this kind of E diminished. Yeah, we'll call it E diminished. Or C sharp diminished. I can't remember what the chord moves to. I think it moves to C sharp. Anyway, doesn't matter. So the movement again stays the same. So it's 9/12 on the G string, 9/12 on the high E string. Probably worth keeping this first finger and pinky as the fingers of choice through this. So the notes movement still stays the same as other arpeggio. Then it moves to B minor. So that's 7/11 and 7/10 on the high E string. And the movement again still stays the same. Then it moves to B major. So that's 8/11 7/11. So from B minor to B major. So all of that together, and it's twice round on each arpeggio, I'm sure. Twice round the first one, and then once round all of them from there on. So I'll start that one again. Then you've got these wee kind of pinched harmonics from 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, and you give it a squeal with the right hand and a bend in the half step. So I'm catching that with the pick and the thumb at the same time. I'll run over a video on how to catch these harmonics if you're not too sure on them. And then the arpeggio section kind of starts again, but this time you're not playing in triplets, you're playing in 16th notes, and you start just after the beat. So your beat will go 1, 2, 3, 4. Da 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 da. 1. 1. So you're just starting after the beat, and it's all hammer-ons and pull-ups. Again, it's heavily muted, and the notes slightly change the order of the notes, so it's not as kind of jumpy abouty as the first section was. So the notes go. So you're just running straight up the arpeggio and straight down the arpeggio, starting 7 7 9 6 9, and I'll keep first and pinky actually. Cool. And then the second arpeggio is going 6 6 9 7 5 9. So it requires a fair bit of strength in that. I'm picking the starting note on each string. Then it moves up to this diminished string. Then back to B minor. And then when it gets to that note, then you go back to triplets. So you're moving from 16th notes, 4 notes per beat, to triplets, the 3 notes per beat. So 2, 3, 4, 1. So you can hear the triplet going from the B minor arpeggio into the B major arpeggio. Triplet, da 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 da. So that's what you're aiming for that very last arpeggio. And then you have an E major arpeggio that climbs from the 12th fret. So the way I play this slightly different to Nuno. I sweep up 12. So the end arpeggio is 12. So I'm sweeping up this E shape. 12, 14, 14, 13, 12, 12. And I'm trying to accent that as triplets, but it's very difficult when you're sweeping that. Right up to the 16th fret on the high E. And then I come back down with a string skip on the G at the 16th fret. And down to the 13th. So the order of notes. And I'm just coming down that arpeggio, back up to finish on that high E. So that's my first section of this very last arpeggio. Pull offs again. So and then you're going to play the high 16th on the top E string. Slide up to the B of the arpeggio. And back down to the 16th. So that counts as one triple. Back down. It's actually quite hard to do that really slow. 16, 13, 14. Just a wee major arpeggio that we're just going to descend in thirds. In groups of 3, sorry, not thirds. 1, 2, 3. Then back to the next note in the arpeggio. So we're starting on the top note in the arpeggio and we're going down 3. Then we're going up to the middle note in the arpeggio, going down 3. And I take it way down to the 7th fret. Then to the lowest note in the arpeggio, which would be here, but we're moving that to the 7th fret on the G string. 9. Then back to the next note that we missed on the 9th fret. Then back to the next note in the arpeggio, down 3. Back to the last note in the arpeggio, down 3. And one of those big dive bombs. So that whole last wee bit goes. So all in all, you've got something that goes. It's something like that anyway. I hope you got something for this. I'm going to do another couple of these in the next few weeks, just as long as this kind of lockdown's going on for. If you're interested in online lessons or anything like that at all, if you want to see any requests or if you want to go over anything, feel free to drop me a message or a private message and just let me know what you're looking for, and I'll try my best to accommodate it. So I'm off now, and I'll speak to you soon. Thanks very much. Cheers now.